before we start discussing, I just want to clarify that it is not like that we are going to pick each and every challenges and then we are going to talk about how to overcome them. We are going to discuss some basic things or basic ideas that you need to keep in mind, which will help you to overcome multiple challenges at the same time. So let's get started. I will start this dialogue with the saying that I used in the previous dialogue as well, that if you know your problem very well, you are halfway done to solve it. In the previous dialogue, we talked about these challenges that are there to use storytelling in education. In the last dialogue, I asked you at the end that what are some of the challenges that you are facing or you might face when you will start using storytelling in classroom practices. Well, in this video, we are going to talk about how to overcome these challenges, but I want you to give it a thought. Think about the challenge or the challenges and try to think how will you overcome them. You can pause, you can think and resume once you are done. You might have come up with, okay, if I have problem with writing a stories, then maybe I will be in touch with someone who is into writing stories. You will say that, okay, what if I have some stories which are already available in the on the internet? I will use those stories. Some of you might think that, okay, I will have a word with my students about what type of stories they like and what should I do to use stories in my classroom. All of these are correct. Adding to this, if you feel that you are stuck somewhere, you need some help, you have multiple nodes to connect. For example, you can talk to peers of this course itself. You can talk to your colleagues, you can talk to your friends, you can talk to your family, and the best way is you can talk to your students directly. Why? Because that will also help you to understand your audience, that what type of stories do they like. The stories that you are thinking or you are creating, are those stories making sense to them or not? And the other benefit is you can become their favorite teacher. Why not? Imagine a science teacher spending 3 to 5 minutes of his or her class to tell stories. Who will not like it? If I was a student, I would love that. In this course, whatever activity that we are going to do will help you to become a good storyteller, to write good stories, but also will help you to understand your audience as well. Next is, we know that you have a lot of work pressure, you have a very vast syllabus to cover, you have a lot of non-teaching activities in your hand as well, and you also have your personal life. But remember one thing, you are not supposed to cover your entire syllabus with the help of storytelling. Storytelling is there just to support your teaching learning practices and not to replace it. When you say you are going to use storytelling in your classroom, it doesn't mean that you are going to cover your entire syllabus with the help of storytelling. You are just going to use storytelling maybe to set a base for any topic, maybe to have some introduction for any particular topic, to discuss about any subtopic that you want to discuss. Or let's say sometimes you want your students to use their critical thinking by applying their knowledge in the stories, and they just have to make the right decisions about what is happening in the story. So you need to understand that it will take time. It is not like that after watching this video, you're going to start using storytelling immediately in your classroom. Maybe let's say in your next class, you will bring this idea to your students that what if I tell you stories which will explain you a science topic, just to understand or observe their reactions. Are they curious or not? What all ideas are they bringing up to you? Let's say after 2 weeks, You are just taking a one small story just to experiment that, okay, if your stories are working or not, if they are liking your stories or not, and what all things you can do in your stories. Let's say after a while you are actually bringing a one small topic for introduction for any of the uh, content that you are going to teach them. Doing it consistently and gradually is the key here. Remember, you are also exploring this tool of storytelling. Now, some of you might think that I understand everything, but what if there are already some science stories available that I can freely use? You can definitely use those stories if they are publicly available or they are under Creative Commons license. In fact, we would encourage you that when you start writing your stories, if possible, keep them under Creative Commons license so other science educators as well can use them, can modify them as per their need. In fact, you will have few science stories under this course that you can freely use in your teaching learning practices as well. Coming back to the challenges part related to writing stories, managing the ratio of entertainment and education, misconceptions, how to avoid them, how to execute your stories. These all things we are going to talk about in the later weeks of this course. In fact, we have lots of activities that will help you to understand how all of these things are done or handled. As of now, I will just say to conclude whatever we have discussed, have patience, have consistency, have a conversation with your peers and your students. And lastly, have a curiosity to become a narrative educator. Are you ready? So let's get started.